Hello and welcome to Automotive Grace. This is an exciting episode. It's been quite a while in the making, but finally it's happening. Today I'm going to reveal my restoration project, and it's a very exciting day. Not only do you get to see said project, but the sun is also shining and there's no water falling from the sky. Happy days. Now I know it's been a while. The whole point of this channel was to walk you through my restoration project, my first ever complete restoration project. Well, that was just over a year ago and 23 videos ago, and I haven't even started and I haven't even shown you what the project is. So in this video we will have the ta-da moment where I show you my project. We'll also look at the car and a little bit about the history, and I'll show you all the little bits and pieces and the condition of the car, and then also my intention for the restoration. So stand by. So if you haven't guessed by now, this is my restoration project. It is a magnificent 1962 Austin Mini 850, and it will be named Blue for fairly obvious reasons. This is a South African imported Mini, and you can tell that it's a South African Mini by several features. One, the unique color scheme, which is factory original, with this top white section. If you think all other Minis usually have a white top and then a body colored rest of the body. Uniquely for South African and Australian Minis, you did get an option of a dual color, either pale blue and white or red and white. Anything else is not original. So yeah, it's a pretty unique color scheme. I quite like it. Haven't decided whether I'm going to keep it yet, so stay tuned. Let me walk you around. Now, I don't know about you, but I've always loved early Minis. Surprisingly, even my wife likes early Minis. When she saw it for the first time, she just went, "Oh, it's so cute!" And really, it is cute. It is amazingly tiny, tiny, tiny. Get so used to seeing big cars on the roads now, modern BMW Minis. But it is tiny, tiny, tiny. And I really like the early Minis as well. You got the lovely chrome bumper here in the front. Grille, and then you have the external hinges on the doors for the early Mini Mk1s. Got the sliding windows. You have the pedestrian catcher door handles, and you have the lovely little lights at the back. Mark II had the big square lights, but there's just something cute about these little small lights at the back. Well, what a cute, wonderful little thing. Now, I found this car in South Africa quite by accident. We were visiting a friend of the family whose recently deceased father has a massive classic car collection. He's a big car guy as well. And he had just found this car in a deceased estate from which he bought it. It was found in a garage of a deceased estate, covered with lots of stuff. I'll try to dig out the picture of when it was found to show you what condition it was in when it was found. He bought it, and I saw it when we were visiting him, and yeah, before you know it, I made him an offer, and he very generously allowed me to buy it. So thanks, Dave. I really appreciate it. It's in very, very solid condition, and I'll show you around all the little detailed areas here. You can see just how solid it is. Fantastic restoration project, and it brings me on to my first requirement for my very first restoration project, and that is, number one, buy a car that is complete, running and driving. So yeah, this car is complete and it runs and drives, and we'll even take a little spin around the block just to prove it to you. So at least that way you know nothing critical is missing from the car. There's no rare unobtainium bit or piece that's missing. So that's the good start for a project. The other thing is, no matter how badly you restore the car, you should be able to at least get it back to running and driving condition. So we'll see how it goes. But I think it's very important that you don't buy cars with massive rust holes, bits missing, previous incomplete restoration project where you get boxes of bits and pieces. You never quite know whether anything's missing, and you never quite know what it looked like when it started off. But this is a really solid car to begin a project, and I'll show you a little bit about all the cool details. The more I look at it, it's more solid than I remember, which is a good thing. Now, I know when I'm looking at minis at shows and so on, the minis that really draw me in are the ones that are completely original and standard. Small 10-inch wheels, original paint jobs, original colors, standard interior, standard dashboard, standard steering wheel. That's the thing that really interests me. And I think if I am going to sell this when it's done, as much as it'll kill me to sell it, even my wife likes it, so we'll see how it goes. But I want to cast the net as far as possible. And I think a standard early 1962 Mini will have a good market, potential market anyway, than just another Cooper replica or something that's non-standard or in garish colors. So I do like the pastel colors. I like the blue. Daisy is the pastel yellow. I like that as well for the 60s cars. So let me know what you think. Standard or modified? I'm definitely leaning towards standard with the little wheels and just get it running and driving really well. A little bit of buckling here on the bumper. I'm not sure whether I'll be able to get that out. May have to get some new bumpers. We'll see how it goes. I may give it a whirl, see if I can beat that out. But yeah, bumpers are readily available, so we'll see how that goes. And you can see the seam here. Fantastic, no corrosion. Even the trim down the side here, the finishing strip, no corrosion here at all. Definitely a weak point in the Mini. You can see this browning here. This is all just a little bit of surface corrosion, no holes, nothing to worry about. Solid here around the rain channel, which is another weak point. And you can see here everything is rather sunburnt and brittle from being in the South African sun. So all these rubbers are pretty hard, but yeah, all solid. A little bit of surface corrosion there, or patina as we like to call it. You can also see the very South African feature, which is the data dot. That is a process which every car from South Africa that's been exported has to have installed. It's a microscopic dot that has a little identification number. That identification number can be traced back to this car, and it is sprayed on some critical components all over the car, so that if it is ever stolen and broken up, you can trace the original bits and pieces back to this particular car. Bonnet is all original, nice and solid, no rust. There's an odd sort of finish here, as if the paint has somehow been burnt. Maybe there was an issue with the engine, but I can't see anything on the inside. It is still solid. There's no body filler here, so that's just a case of refinishing. You'll see the paint is quite tired and worn. It's even been polished through into the white underneath here. The car is actually fully painted white inside and out, and then is later taped off, and they paint on the blue color. So really this is a white car with blue trim, and you can see the way here where it's been rubbed through. You can see the white underneath. So starting at the front of the car, everything very solid. Look at these seams, all nice, no rust whatsoever. These brown marks that you see are all very light surface corrosion. You can even see down here in the seam, just very light, very, very light surface corrosion, no holes. I've dabbed on a little bit of a rust preventer here, but there's no rust holes. Seams still really solid. Fantastic condition around the front. can see the original little hubcaps here. I love these little 10-inch wheels and the small hubcaps. Hubcaps are still pretty good condition. I like the look, and I think I'll be keeping that. The main area I think that will need attention is here on the A panel, weak point in Minis, because the tire flips up all sorts of dirt and mud inside here, and it corrodes from the inside. So you can see this is corroded through into a hole. So this will have to be repaired. There's a few little blisters here. I think from about here down will have to be replaced. I've already bought an A-pillar. Maybe if you've done this before, let me know whether it's better to take the entire A-pillar out or whether I can just replace the bottom piece. And here in the door, around the external door hinges, we have some corrosion. I don't think it'll be too bad. That's the only real corrosion here on the driver's door. This is all surface rust. But just around the hinges here, we have a little bit of a corrosion. You see down the side of the door here, all nice and solid. Minor little blister here, nothing too serious. And that bottom seam is fantastic. And this is just corrosion paint that I've put on here, but it's all very, very solid, amazing. And incredibly, and this is one of the reasons why you'd want to buy a South African car to restore, just look at those sills at the bottom. Those are the original sills. They are totally, totally solid, as is the floor pans. Almost unheard of in a mini restoration project, but such is the weather in South Africa that they're generally preserved. One small area is here around the battery box. You see the battery box has had a little extra piece welded on. That had a hole in it when I first saw the car, and has been repaired. Look how solid that is. You'll see here around the rain channels, just minor surface corrosion. Nothing to be concerned about. This could probably polish out. But yeah, all nice and solid, even along the trim. And here at the back, the weak point here, where the trim meets the rain gutter, all very solid. And you can see in the drain hole here, just a little bit of surface corrosion. Down the seam, looks like the original strip here, but there is some corrosion here, which is unusual because typically if these seams are not disturbed, they should remain watertight. But it looks as if this was disturbed at some stage and now has corrosion through the seam. And you'll see at the back of the car here, it's covered with sort of a silver paint. So I think something is going on around the back here. The boot lid is painted silver, a bit odd. We have the surface patina here, all nice and solid. And here under the rain channel, all nice and solid, very good. Quite amazing condition, really. Fantastic. This is normally a big weak point for restoration projects. If you move to the left-hand side of the car here, you'll see, again, all very solid, very nice. But as you move down the seam, again, we have a little bit of a corrosion there. So something's definitely going on at the back of the car here. Again, we've got this paint on here, which is a bit odd. Little dent there. And actually, if you look here, this all feels pretty solid. Some filler over there. And then this looks a bit unusual. It feels as if it's not completely metallic. I think there's some filler in there, and there's actually a little crack in the filler here. So I think something's going on here. Let's open the boot and have a look. Now, the first thing I noticed here is that this boot looks nice and solid, but it's actually a twin skin, a double-skinned boot lid, which is from a later Mini. This should be a single-skin boot lid from the early 62 Mini, so that's been replaced, and that's probably a sign that something's going on back here. You'll also notice in the fuel tank, which sits inside here, there's a dent here. So it looks as if this car probably had a little knock in the rear, which dented the tank. And if you look around here at this panel, You can see that it's thicker than normal, and there's definitely a layer of body filler on there. So that was probably pulled out after someone dinged the back of the car. So this panel here is quite thick on the inside with some body filler. So I think this panel here is going to need some attention. I'm not sure if it's possible to take that dent out or whether I need to replace the fuel tank, but I'll look into that once I get that far. You can also see here down in the seam bits of body filler here in the seam. So obviously at some point this car's had a little ding in the back. I've put in a new battery just because the old one was dead. But amazingly, the boot is all pretty solid. Look at that. Yeah, remarkable. I hope this is not one of those where when I start digging, I find lots of rust. But so far, hardly any. A great project. So that original bump in the back probably moved this panel and disturbed the seam slightly, which is why we have a little bit of corrosion here in the seam. So that all have to come off and be repaired. Again, this isn't rust, this is just a little bit of surface corrosion. All very solid, even up here. No holes, just a little bit of surface corrosion here. No areas of concern. This door here is probably worse than the driver's door. Has a few little holes here at the bottom. I'm not sure whether I'll need a new skin or whether I can get a repair panel for that. That's obviously gone all the way through, so need to either cut that out and put a repair panel in or maybe install a new door skin. On the A panel on this side, you'll see there's also a hole, much like the other side, not as bad. But again, I have two new A panels which I've bought. I just need to decide whether I can cut these out, maybe cut half the panel and replace it, or whether I need to do the whole panel. I might ask some of you mini experts watching which is the better idea. I'd like to disturb as little as possible given the car is so original and solid. So if I can cut part of the panel and replace it, that would be my preference, but we'll have to see whether that's actually possible. Again, this weather strip here, nice and solid. There's some anti-corrosion paint here, but there's no real corrosion. Seems all very, very nice here. And under the bonnet, things just get better. Let's have a look here. So have a look here. Looks fantastic. It's been fitted with an alternator. So what I might do is buy one of those. What are they called? Dynastars. They look like dynamos, but actually are alternators inside to give us the original look of the dynamo that the car originally came with. Engine runs, drives. It smokes a bit. It's going to need a refresh. And if you're wondering why it looks so nice and new and shiny, well, the guy I bought it from said that it was an oil leak, and he fixed the oil leak. And while the engine was out fixing the oil leak, he painted the engine up before reinstalling it. So yeah, it looks fantastic, and shows you when you buy a car from the right person, they really care and they can be trusted, and it makes all the difference who you buy the car from. You can see here seams. I've painted on some anti-rust, but they're all solid. No problems here. Radiator looks good. Even the insulation fabric here at the back is in pretty good condition. The rubbers obviously all need to be replaced. Engine is relatively clean. We have the chrome top oil cover here. One of these brake cylinders looks a little bit corroded. That might clean up. Again, even this fabric looks good, which is a major rust trap normally for minis, because it attracts moisture and then it sits there and rusts out the firewall. But yeah, this is all surface corrosion. This is all solid. Everything looks good down here. What a great starting point. Well, just having a look inside the car. So you can see again, you have a unique upholstery which matches the outside of the car. Don't know if I'm wild about it, but we'll see. You can see the car is generally in good condition, just pretty sunburnt and worn out. But everything is there. Everything is solid. Even the roof lining is pretty good. A little bit of discoloration, but yeah, even the seats at the back look like they've hardly been used, but are quite brittle and faded from the sun. Now we still have the original carpets here, quite faded, but you can see it is a pale blue. If you look under the carpets, you still have the underfelt, and you can see here some surface rust, but pretty solid. It looks like the car's had a little bit of a ding at some stage. You can see the floor was dented up here, so that needs to just be pushed down a little bit. Probably went over a curb or something at some stage, but yeah, everything is really solid underneath the carpets. And just to show you what I mean, you can see here you have the original carpets here, the underlay, and look at the floors under there. Look at that. Beautifully solid. Cross members, all good. Wow. This was a really good find. So the seats are a little bit collapsed. The straps underneath have just disappeared really and fallen away. So the seat is a little bit on the floor. But let me show you the main reason why this is such a fantastic car. Fuel pump on, and this has the little button downstairs here to switch it on. Happy days. So, what were my requirements when I was thinking about doing a restoration project? Well, because I've never done this before, I wanted to make it as easy as possible, or as in corporate speak, to set myself up for success. So, my requirements were: buy something that is running, driving, and complete, which this car is. Secondly, buy something that doesn't have massive rust holes in, where you're going to be cutting away half the car and only be left with half the car at the end. So, minimal little rust, minimal major bodywork required. The other thing is size, because as we all know, size does matter. And my formula is whatever restoration project I took on, I need to ensure that I have double that amount of space to work on it. If you can imagine, in a garage, you've got the car on the one side. Whatever you take off the car, bonnet, doors, glass, and a working area, you have to put it somewhere. So although there are amazingly talented and dedicated individuals out there that have done amazing restorations in tiny little garages, Vince Judge, I'm looking at you, I think I need a little bit more space. So for me, you need double the size of space required for the car that you are restoring. And the other thing is buying at the right price and not sinking too much money into it. So do as much of the restoration as I can, get independent experts in only where it's something that I can't do, or for example, spray painting. That's an area which I'm not sure which I will tackle myself, just because I've seen many fantastic restoration projects ruined by homemade paint jobs. So I want to make this look really good at the end. So that's something I might get a professional to do once all the bodywork is done. So the last thing is make sure you love the project that you get stuck into. Because if you get stuck and it's frustrating and maybe it costs you more money and maybe you're tearing your hair out, it's a little bit easier if you really love the project that you're working on. So complete running and driving, no big rust holes in it. Got to be the right size, twice the size needed to restore the car. Buy right and love what you buy, and hopefully that'll set me up for success. So the point with this project is just to see how it goes. I'm a car guy, I love cars, but I've never done a full restoration before, so I want to give that a go, see how it turns out. So this project is just a bit of have some fun, see how it goes, with the object of not spending too much money and selling it at the end of the project, and importantly, not losing any money. This is not about making money. I don't know if you can really make money restoring cars, but as long as I don't lose any money, that's the main thing. Because if it goes well and it turns out really nice, apart from the fact that it's going to kill me to sell this car because I haven't touched it yet and I really love it. Even my wife saw it for the first time and went, "Oh, it's so cute." Well, it is cute. It's a Mk1 Mini, isn't it? So it's going to kill me, but I need to sell this at the end of the project once it's restored, and then use that money towards potentially another project after that. So I have to be very careful about costs, but I don't have any time frame. I'm just going to potter around with it and see how it goes. So yeah, maybe if you're totally bored and have nothing to do with your life, you may consider following me on this journey and seeing how it turns out. Maybe it'll encourage you to do your own restoration project yourself, or maybe it'll encourage you to stay well clear of it after you see how difficult it is. Anyway, wish me luck. I'm sure it'll be fun. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me and enjoy the journey with me. If you have any comments about the car, any advice, then please put it in the comments below. Very much appreciated. But thanks, and enjoy the ride. Wish me luck.